Hey there. Imagine you've just walked right into my office, sat down in that comfy chair across my desk, and just let out a massive, deep sigh. You know the one. You're stressed about money. You're constantly worried about your car breaking down, scraping together enough to pay bills on time, or panicking about what on earth would happen if you lost your job. Well, welcome to today's explainer. Look, I want you to just take a deep breath right now, because in our session today, I'm going to act as your personal financial coach. We are going to build a practical, totally sustainable plan to end that financial anxiety for good. If you give me your absolute focus today, I'm going to show you exactly how to manage your money so you literally never go broke again.
But first things first, we need to completely toss out any shame or emotional baggage you might have brought into the room today regarding your bank account. Because here is the core philosophy for our entire session. Money isn't random, it isn't evil, it's not some shadowy force that's out to get you. Money is just basic math. And honestly, I know you understand basic math. Once we ground ourselves in this, taking control of your finances becomes this highly logical, step-by-step process rather than this incredibly heavy emotional burden.
So, here's our official client action plan. First, diagnosing the paycheck trap. Second, adopting a frugal mindset. Third, building your emergency fund. Fourth, investing for passive income. And fifth, expanding your income streams.
Let's dive right into step 1, diagnosing the paycheck trap.
Before we can even think about fixing the problem, we have to properly diagnose the wildly flawed financial flow that, honestly, 99% of people are stuck in. Walk through this cycle with me. You trade your time and skills at a job for a paycheck. Boom, money comes in. Then, you immediately hit that first round of spending, the big, heavy stuff like rent, bills, groceries. After that's cleared out, you've got a much smaller chunk of cash left over, which funnels directly into round 2, the extras. We're talking those late-night Amazon purchases, eating out, or grabbing ice cream. And step 4? Zero money left. You are completely tapped out. So what do? You go right back to step 1 and do the whole shebang all over again. Most folks live their entire lives this way. But what happens if you lose your job and that paycheck suddenly stops? The whole thing collapses like a house of cards. This isn't living, my friend. This is just existing.
Moving right along to step 2, adopting a frugal mindset.
Okay, to break that vicious cycle we just talked about, we need to bring up a word that frankly makes a lot of my clients cringe at first, but it is absolutely vital for your survival, and that word is frugality. The myth here is that frugality means obsessively pinching pennies, never having an ounce of fun, and just depriving yourself of all joy. Scratch that, forget it. The reality is that true frugality is simply cutting wasteful spending and making intentional choices. It's a strategic tool to free up your cash flow. Maybe it means moving to a smaller place so you aren't paying for empty, unused space. Maybe it's trading in for a cheaper car with a way lower monthly payment. Or, just cutting down on those endless Amazon runs and maybe only getting ice cream 3 times a week instead of every single day. By making these smaller, super intentional choices, you suddenly find yourself with actual cash left over at the end of the month. A real game changer.
All right, step 3, building your emergency fund.
Now that we're using frugality to free up that sweet cash flow, we can't just leave it sitting around totally vulnerable. We have to immediately build a defensive wall to protect you against life's inevitable curveballs. Because I've got a pretty stark reality check for you here. 58%. The data shows that 58% of Americans are exactly one missed paycheck away from a complete catastrophe. That means more than half the people you pass on the street have absolutely zero defensive wall. If the transmission blows up or they get laid off, they are instantly in crisis mode. As your coach, I'm just going to give it to you straight. Santa Claus ain't coming to town to pay your rent. You have to protect yourself.
So the million-dollar question is, how do we actually build that protection? The specific mechanic we're going to use is a little thing called paying yourself first. This means taking a set amount of money out of your paycheck and routing it straight into an emergency savings account before any other spending even happens. Before the rent, before the bills, definitely before the Amazon runs. You secure your safety net first. And once that cash is in the emergency fund, you lock it away. You never touch it unless there is an actual, literal emergency.
Let me give you a really concrete professional target to aim for here. 6 to 12. Your ultimate goal is to save enough cash in that emergency fund to cover 6 to 12 months of living expenses. Once you hit that target, just imagine the absolute peace of mind. If you suddenly lose your job, you're not scrambling in a blind panic. You just calmly draw from this fund to keep the lights on while you look for a new gig. You are no longer 100% completely reliant on an employer just to survive day to day.
Which brings us to step 4, investing for passive income.
Okay, once that defensive wall is built, we get to do the really fun part.
We shift our whole strategy from defense right over to offense. It's time to make your money actually work for you. But let me pose a critical question to you first. Once your emergency fund is full and you've hit that magical 12-month mark, why shouldn't you just keep dumping all your extra cash into that exact same savings account? I mean, it feels safe, right? Well, doing that is actually a massive financial mistake.
And here's exactly why. Inflation. It's the silent tax. It's that invisible force that guarantees the price of a Big Mac is just going to continually rise over time. I mean, think about it. There's no true dollar menu anymore. Whether you blame corporate greed or just basic economics, prices inevitably go up. If you just leave your hard-earned extra cash sitting totally idle in a basic savings account, it is actively losing its purchasing power every single year. You're basically slowly moving backwards.
Let's map out how this builds your brand new financial flow. This is the true, slow, kind of boring, but highly effective passive income loop. Step 1, you work to make money. Step 2, because your emergency fund is already topped off, you stop funding it. Step 3, you redirect all that extra cash into opening a brokerage account and investing in the stock market, specifically broad index funds. And step 4, you let that money make you even more money. When your investments generate returns, you don't spend it. You just leave it right there to compound and grow. This is how you fight inflation. It's literally money you make without doing a single extra ounce of physical work.
And finally, step 5, expanding your income streams.
Look, because you're fundamentally secure, your frugal mindset is locked in, your emergency wall is fully funded, and your money is out there growing in index funds, you aren't desperate for that single paycheck anymore. You have the absolute freedom to explore infinite possibilities for generating independent income. You could kick off a basic side hustle, like driving for Uber, just to bring in some extra cash outside your normal 9-to-5. Or you could go bigger and build a business from scratch, like starting a YouTube channel. You don't need some massive $1 million loan to start generating revenue these days. You just really need to think outside the box. Sure, it takes time, and no, there isn't a step-by-step instruction manual for your specific idea, but figuring out ways to make money entirely on your own terms, it is incredibly empowering.
So, let's just take a step back and look at the complete paradigm shift we've accomplished in our coaching session today. On one side is the life you walked in here with, the vicious circle. Working, spending absolutely everything, having zero left over, and desperately needing more. That is a life of constant, grinding anxiety. But on the exact opposite side is your brand new blueprint, the sustainable plan. You lower your expenses through intentional frugality, you build a fortress with a 6 to 12-month emergency fund, you grow your wealth by investing in index funds, and eventually, you generate multiple streams of income. With this system running, you are no longer dependent on a single source of income just to survive.
I'm going to end our masterclass today with a direct challenge to you. Because all this information we just covered, it literally only works if you actually apply it. So I want you to answer this question for yourself right now. What is the very first step you will take today to begin your sustainable plan? Are you going to sit down tonight and calculate exactly where your wasteful spending is going? Are you going to log into your bank and set up an automatic transfer to pay yourself first this coming Friday? Don't just absorb this explainer passively, act on it. Because if you put this exact blueprint into motion, you will absolutely never have to worry about going broke again. Thanks for sitting down with me today. Now go out there and execute the plan.